Hey guys, so today I had a chat with Bora from Stand to End Rape about anxiety, and it wasn't really clear. So I decided to, just my friend noted the questions and decided to just answer them again in a clearer video, no connection issues, and yeah, so hit me. Anxiety is the body's natural response to stressful or threatening situations. And when you're experiencing anxiety, usually you'd feel, let's go from the head to the toes. So in your head, or you're up here, you feel dizziness, you feel lack of concentration, and then your neck, you feel tense, your shoulders feel tense, and then your palms feel sweaty, your extremities, your fingers, they feel this tingling, numbing feeling, and then your chest feels tight, and then your tummy feels, you start feeling that, butterflies in your tummy feeling, and then you also feel nauseous sometimes, and then also you feel just very worried. Everywhere just feels hot, start sweating, everything. So that's how you feel when you're anxious, and it's just fear, and apprehension, waiting for the future to happen and all that. So that's really what anxiety is. So anxiety in the 21st century is very different because of the technological advancements that we have now compared to 100 years ago, other centuries. Let's look at a scenario, right? Your boss calls you. Your boss is upset. You didn't meet the target for the day. Your project is not completed, and he or she is just upset. And then the call ends. Obviously, that call is going to make you feel uneasy, no matter how competent you feel within or anything. There's nobody that will hear that and not feel some kind of emotion. And so you're dealing with that emotion, and then you get a debit alert and you see, oh, your gym has taken money, gym membership that you wanted to cancel, and that's upsetting financially and just in general. And then you're like, okay, you know what, it's been a day, I am tired, let me check my social media handle to see if there's anything funny that'll make me laugh or happy or change my mood in any way. And then you check social media, and the first thing you see is the city you're in has 1,000 new cases of coronavirus. All that at once, back to back, hitting you left, right. Like, the 21st century just has so many stressors hitting us all at the same time, and that's what makes it so different compared to other centuries. So when dealing with anxiety, the first thing I tell people is to breathe. Just breathe, because one of the symptoms of anxiety is shortness of breath. And so right now you have to gather all the oxygen your body needs, right? So breathe in, breathe out, just breathe. Okay, just breathe. Now the second thing I would recommend after that is to identify the trigger. Identify your triggers. Know what it is that is bothering you in that moment. Is it that you're afraid of a job interview because you're scared of rejection? So that feeling of rejection, focus on it and try to understand why you feel like that. Just identify it. That's rejection. Identify it. And then after that, the third thing I'd recommend to do is to face that fear. Face it like, okay, they're going to reject me. Okay, if they reject me, then nothing, right? It won't be the end of the world. You would be disappointed, yes, but it wouldn't be the end of the world, right? So identify, remember, breathe, identify, and then face it, right? Then after you have faced it and you're holding this fear in your hand, take it in and breathe it out. Breathe it out. Let it out, right? Let it out. Because that's not for you. You're the boss of you. So take control of that feeling and breathe it out. Just take it in and breathe it out. Take it in and breathe it out. And then the fifth thing I recommend, because you just need this one, is, and usually you might not need to do this as you are experiencing that anxious moment. You would probably need to do it after. And this is to learn to transform negative thoughts into positive ones, right? Let's say you go to that job interview and you're anxious. Instead of thinking of the anxiety in a negative light, like, oh, I'm scared because they're not liking me, think about it as, oh, I'm so excited I'm here. I can potentially get a job. That's amazing. Wow, this is going to be so dope. It's going to be amazing. Yes, yes, yes. Instead of thinking, so with time, as you're doing that, you start to realize that you don't feel so incapacitated. You feel more confident. Like, I'm here and I'm ready for this opportunity. Yes, come get me. I'm here for you, you know? So those are 5 things I believe you could do when you're trying to deal with anxiety. When you're just anxious, right? It's temporary. It's in that moment. It's between the time you realize you're feeling that way and when you leave that situation, right? So there are 3 things that I would tell you to look out for to know if it has developed into a disorder. Is the first thing is the intensity. How intense is this feeling, right? How, like, does it affect your day-to-day life? Do you feel incapacitated by it, right? So that intensity, the first thing. The second thing, frequency. How often does it happen? Is it only when you go for job interviews, or you go and give a speech, or you're talking to this new boy or girl you like? Is it then it happens, or it's like basically every single day, something you are always so aware of? So like, is it that constant? So it's a very, very, very possible, right? Very possible at that point that there might be a disorder involved, an anxiety disorder involved. Now the third thing, duration. How long does this thing last? Like I said, is it where it starts from that it ends? Like after the thing ends, it ends, or it goes on for like hours after you've left that threatening situation, or it goes on for like days, right? So usually, like, if you have these feelings persistently for over 6 months, it's possible that you might have an anxiety disorder. And I'd like to put a disclaimer out there: do not self-diagnose. You just try to manage it, but do not take any medication in order to stop this thing until you are pretty sure you've been diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. Do not self-medicate, please. So anxiety disorders are very common. Remember, we're living in this century where everything just hitting us left, right, left, just coming everywhere. So it's a very, very common disorder. So yes, anxiety disorders can be inherited. There are 3 parts of the brain that control fear and emotion: the orbitofrontal cortex, the amygdala, and the limbic system. They control fear and emotions. And with parents that have hyperactivity in those areas on the brain, you realize that they have children that have those same hyperactivity in this. It's very, very possible to inherit an anxiety disorder. Anxiety disorders, unfortunately, cannot be cured, but they can be managed. So it's not a death sentence. You can live with it very well. And yes, things like psychotherapy can help. I personally, the psychotherapy like CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, can help. Some people do prescribe, or some people do take medication for it, but it's not something I'm personally a fan of. But usually you see people taking antidepressants or sedatives just to calm the nerves. So, but some long term, I don't think it's. I personally am not a fan, but it's something that is an option. So symptoms of an anxiety disorder is basically symptoms of just being anxious, right? But like I said, they're more intense, they are more frequent, and they last longer. That's the only difference. So yeah. Like I mentioned earlier, genetics play a huge role in anxiety disorders. Another thing too is changes in the brain. Changes in the brain as you age can trigger an anxiety disorder. And the third thing, which we've been talking about since, environmental stressors, they can cause anxiety disorders. You're constantly bombarded with stressors. Your body it's going to react, and it's possible that you develop an anxiety disorder. Personally, I usually believe in starting with here, mind, right? Transforming thoughts, right? The way you think is the way you feel, and the way you feel is the way you behave, right? So if you start to think positive thoughts, you start to feel positive things, and then you start to act positively and attract positive situations. So when it comes to managing anxiety, I totally recommend starting from here, changing your thought process and stop trying to be a fortune teller. You do not know if that friend is going to choke you, or you don't know if you're going to lose that job, or you're not a fortune teller. So let things play out. Relax, it's okay. Relax, let things play out, and you move from there. Now, another thing I'd recommend, honestly, is to healthy lifestyle. I recommend a healthy lifestyle. Eating healthy, exercising. Those things really, really help. Cut out any mood altering substance like caffeine. Cut out caffeine. Cut out alcohol. Those things, they alter your mood. And remember, it's already hyperactive up there. You need to get it to come, be with us, right? So just avoid caffeine. Anything that's going to caffeine, alcohol, just avoid them, right, as much as possible, right? Another thing I would recommend before I forget is please avoid procrastination. Try to beat deadlines, right? So let's say the deadline's on Friday, try to do whatever you need to do by Wednesday, right? So that way you're not feeling that tension, you're not feeling that stress, and with time you start to deal with that stressful aspect of your life a little easily, right? So avoid last minute things. Now, for more fun, more interesting things, be mindful. Like I said, do everything intentionally, right? When you're eating, mindfully eat. I'm not saying pinpoint everything you're doing, no, just be mindful, be aware, be present with your food. When you're watching TV, be present with the TV. When you're talking to your friend, be present, be mindful. When you wake up from the bed in the morning, be mindful of the thoughts you have. When you're going to bed, be mindful of what you think. All those things play a huge role. Mindfulness helps so much, right? Then we'll go to meditation. Meditation is an amazing way to deal with anxiety and just deal with stress in general. You pick something that's bothering you, or just something you just really are grateful for, happy about, and spend 30 minutes just meditating on it, right? Block out every sound, every distraction, anything that can confuse you for that moment. Just block everything out, be with yourself, be present with yourself, and meditate on that. And then next thing I'd like to talk about, which I could have said under exercising, but I just love it so much, is yoga. Yoga is amazing. Yoga is amazing because you don't not only stretch and relax the tension in your neck, in your shoulders, in your arms, in your legs, you also get to breathe. Remember I told you breathing is key. You need to just and then relax and then stretch out your body, and it will help, right? So breathing is very essential and very helpful. And that's where yoga does that. It helps you exercise and it also helps you breathe. So yoga is a 2-for-1 special, or even 3-for-1 special if you ask me. And then next thing I'd recommend is aromatherapy. It is beautiful. It helps you just, it's like, as you're even doing your yoga or you're doing your meditation, you could just put a diffuser with an essential oil of your choose, like your choice, whatever you want, whatever essential oil you like, you could just put it in your diffuser. And if you do not have a diffuser, you could just put it in tissue and stick it in. But please do not too close to your nose, because it's really potent and it will burn you, right? So please avoid that. And if maybe you just want to, like, maybe give your face a nice steam, but also do some little aromatherapy here and there, you could just put it in a few drops in hot water, and just cover your head. But please be mindful, people that have sensitive skin, it can trigger or worsen eczema, or just cause other things, and try not to be too close, because you can burn yourself as well. But I would recommend a diffuser or just the tissue type angle, and just it helps lift your mood. It helps reduce your blood pressure, lower your blood pressure, and also your heart rate. And it also helps with sleep, because when most people that have anxiety disorders have problems sleeping, right? So if you try to help yourself with sleep, it's very, very easy to also help yourself with anxiety. Your brain has relaxed, you're no longer tense, you're well rested, and then you'll be able to deal with your anxiety better. Another thing that I really recommend, like absolutely recommend, is drinking chamomile tea. It's very tranquilizing. I remember sometimes when I'll take it and I'll just not be able to stand up from the bed. I'll just be like, oh, like I can't stand up, because it relaxes every muscle in your body. So I recommend you not taking it during the day, probably when you're about to sleep, maybe like an hour to when you're about to sleep, so that you can, they're fully rested and you don't need to do anything. It's amazing. And last but not the least, please find an accountability partner, someone that you can talk to about this. Maybe someone that's dealing with the same or similar issue with you, or someone you just trust, because trust is very key when it comes to mental health issues. You do not just talk about it with someone you don't really know like that, or someone that you do not trust like that, because you need someone that got your back with stuff like this. And so talk to someone you trust and just converse about it. The person should be able to know your triggers and also talk about it. And talking about it helps too, because when you talk about it, it's a mental thing. You talk to someone about it and the person is just like, oh, I've experienced this too. It makes you feel less stressed out, like you're not the only one going through this thing. Or sometimes they can even help you change your thought process about it. Like you're thinking about this negative thing and the person just tells you, no, it could be this other thing. Don't try to fortune tell, don't try to predict the future, just live through the moment. So have someone you can talk to about this and it will help. So those are the tips I have for managing anxiety disorders, and that's all. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I definitely will share more tips and information about mental health in general if you're interested. And yeah, I had fun today with Santi and Drip, and I had fun again with this. So have a nice day. Have a nice day. I'm tired of talking. Bye.